My name is Amber Geiss, and as long as I can remember, I've been passionate about people. I was in a very dark season in which I lost myself. And I'm here to say, despite what others may say or do or our circumstances, we have the power to overcome and find ourselves again. We all have a story. Let's unveil the mask.
Hi guys, it's Amber Geiss here, and I am just so excited for this passion project that I'm starting. And why I'm doing it is I just want to remove our mask, unveil our mask. So many of us walk around every single day hurting inside, or we're just going through something so rough that we feel so alone. And so I just love people so much, and even in my own life I've just gone through so much, and I've hid in silence and I felt so alone. And so what I want to do now is let's just unveil the mask. I want to talk to people, I want to hear your story, and I want to be able to come together and lift each other up, give each other grace. And as we walk through this world, we are all human and we are all going through hard times, but there's always hope. And so today, for my debut episode, I have my wonderful sister-in-law here with me, Angela Geiss. And why I chose you, Angela, was because everything that you and my brother Josh has gone through, you guys have been such an example of love, and the courage and strength that you've had just shocks me every time. And I've been honored to be along this journey with you. We didn't ask for all this to happen, but we're in it together, and I just think that your story can really help a lot of people. So I just want to introduce Angela Geiss.
Hi.
So Angela, so obviously this past year, actually the last couple of years, have been really, really rough.
Yeah.
And this month of October is Infancy Awareness Month, pregnancy loss. And so I just wanted you to share your story about your beautiful daughter.
Sure. So it starts actually in 2016, October of 2016. Well, let me back up. In May of 2016, I had Josh and I had a son, and we had tried to have a child for quite a long time, so we were really excited to have him. But after we had him, we thought, that's it, we're done. We each have our own son, and we had one together. But surprise, I found out that I was pregnant again. And it was October of 2016 that we found out we were pregnant, and you were actually the first person we told. I think so.
I still remember it. We were at Bishop's Pumpkin Patch.
Yeah.
And Josh is all, we're having another baby on the hayride in the pumpkin patch. Yeah, I remember that. I was
maybe
like,
maybe I told my mom. I can't remember.
You probably told your mom first.
Yeah.
Or you can say you told me first.
But yeah, so I was, to be very honest, I was shocked, scared, didn't think I was going to be able to handle back-to-back pregnancies. I was trying to figure out how I was going to handle work, but Josh was over the moon, and he was just hoping that it was going to be a little girl. So October, found out I was pregnant. That pregnancy definitely felt different. There was something inside of me that just felt like something was wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever asked you. I don't think you ever said that to me.
Yeah. I had told Josh, like, something just doesn't feel right. Now, because of my age, I was 20, I was 30, I just turned 36. Yeah, I just turned 36. And so because of my age, they did a lot of extra testing. And in those tests, they found that something just wasn't right. The pregnancy hormones in my body just weren't high enough. And so after several tests, in November, we found out something was wrong. And then December 27th, after an amniocentesis, we found out that my daughter had a chromosome issue.
And so that was, you found out in October, and we did not find out really the results until the end of December. So that whole time, I remember we were just all on pins and needles. I can't imagine being you guys. I mean, you're just this lingering, not knowing what's going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, it was really hard. And even now, 2 years later, I found that This month has just been kind of really difficult for me emotionally. You know, we were hopeful at that point, but at the same time, I just couldn't shake that I felt like something was wrong. So December 27th, we found out that she had a chromosome disorder, and it was that same day that we also found out, surprise for it, we are having a little girl.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I was babysitting Cash maybe, or maybe it was right around that time. Can you tell us what exactly that diagnosis was and maybe explain it a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. So my daughter's name is Havana, as you know, and Havana was diagnosed with a rare chromosome disorder called triploidy, and only 1% of babies that have triploidy make it to full term. So most miscarry in the first trimester or the second trimester.
So and then I think you found out almost to the end of the first, or was it, you were actually in the second trimester when you found out? I feel like you were like pretty farther along.
Let's see, I think it's hard for me to remember. I was still within, I think I was not quite 20 weeks, but I was very close to 20. Like, I think I was about 19 weeks.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. And so were you given, like, what did the doctor say? I mean, did they give you choices? Like,
yeah. So we had to rush the amniocentesis because most women do choose to abort the baby. And so we had to rush the tests to get me within that window. And on the day of the amniocentesis, they knew, right, they didn't know, actually no, on the day of the amniocentesis, they were pretty sure, like over 90% sure that something was wrong. They just weren't sure on the exact diagnosis. So at that time, I was given a choice to continue with the pregnancy or end the pregnancy.
Okay, I just want to pause right there, because this is why I think Angela is so brave, because I always think, what would I do in this situation? Like, what would I do? What would you do? And so I just find that your courage and your bravery, because you chose to keep on marching along. You chose your daughter and the love you have for her just to keep moving forward and let whatever happens.
Yeah.
And so you did. So you and Josh decided you would continue to be pregnant.
Yeah. So I think, you know, a lot of the women that receive this diagnosis do opt to end the pregnancy, and I think it's such a personal decision.
Absolutely.
And Josh and I were adamant that we wanted to continue on. I had heard her heartbeat already, and for me, she was mine. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to hold on to that 1% chance. And I had done some research, and I had found that there was a little girl that lived in Texas that was over a year old, that was alive and had the exact same diagnosis as Havana, and I held on to that. And so, I chose to move on, and I feel strongly that Josh and I were chosen to walk this path, which is why I also feel strongly that I need to share my story.
I totally agree. I think that, I think this is why we're doing, is just kind of unveiling our hardships and sharing with other people, because there might be someone watching, or someone knows someone else and say, oh my gosh, here's someone that you can talk to, or someone that you can reach out to. And whether you choose whatever decision you made, you're still someone to support someone else.
Yeah.
You know? So you guys continue with the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And
we continued with the pregnancy, and we were told that I would most likely miscarry, and that it could happen any day.
Yeah. And I think as all of us as family, we were just waiting. It was such a sad time though.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I don't know. I don't think a lot of us knew how to handle it. Like, do we keep talking about it? Do we ignore it? You know? And I'm sorry. I think it was just all we didn't know what to do. You know? And such a hard thing. But so it was December. You got the diagnosis. You kept on going. You kept carrying her.
Yeah, so it was an amazing experience, and I definitely want to share that because I think that a lot of women are afraid to continue on. I'm involved in a lot of different Facebook groups with women that have this exact diagnosis, and it's fear of the unknown. And for me, it was such a beautiful experience to continue on with her. When you're pregnant, I don't know how many people watching this are going to be women and how many are going to be mothers, but as you know, when you're carrying the baby, the bond begins, I mean, way before your child comes out. And so it's almost like you get to see a peek of their personality before they come out. And I could certainly start to see the way she moved around and the way she responded to me tapping on my stomach, her personality. And it was a beautiful personality. And I hold on to the fact that, at 18 weeks, a baby can hear sounds in the womb, and I hold on to the fact that she could hear my voice.
Absolutely.
So, was it a scary experience? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. Would I do it different? Absolutely not. I was lucky. I got to carry her to full term. That was my goal. They wanted to induce me at 36 weeks, and that's not considered full term. And I asked if we could delay it by a week, and they said yes. So I got to carry her to full term, and we all got to meet her. I delivered her, I held her, and it was so precious. I'll never ever forget that.
Yeah, I find it to be, I think back on it as such a spiritual moment. I get emotional thinking about it. I don't know, do you want to share about that day at all? Do you want to share about that day? Because you were induced.
Sure, yeah. So the doctors wanted to make sure that they had all the right specialists on board. And so we were given a day and a time. We asked you to take pictures. A friend had recommended that, who had gone through a similar experience, recommended that we have someone close to us take pictures that was not one of our mothers. And so we asked you to take pictures. Our family was there, my parents, your parents, my brother and my sister-in-law, my other sister-in-law, my brother's wife, were all there. And getting there, it was emotional. I hadn't taken any pregnancy pictures. And right before we walked in, I said to Josh, you have to take a picture of me. You have to, a side picture. We have to capture these last few moments of our daughter. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
And so we went in, and something amazing happened. You took Josh to go eat because he hadn't eaten, and the doctors, they had told us ahead of time that she was not compatible to live, so they would not, if she was struggling with breathing, they would do no heroic acts like they would for a normal baby. So that morning they came in, there was about 7 doctors and nurses, all specialists, and the doctor, he was incredible. He sat down right next to me and he asked me to explain in my own words what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm going to be induced. I understand there will be no heroic acts performed. And I explained, and then he looked at me and he smiled. I actually remember he put his hand on my hand and he said, you're absolutely right. But you and your daughter have amazed us. We didn't expect her to make it this far. And so we have decided to change our plan. Right. And he said, we will treat her just as if she's a completely healthy baby, and we will do whatever it takes to help her survive. And for me, that was just beautiful. And she was strong because no one expected her to live that long. And then the nurse hooked me up to the machine, and that was the last time that I got to hear her heartbeat. And the nurse said, I mean, they were, again, amazed. She had a normal heartbeat, same rate as another baby that was going to be, you know, delivered. And again, I still think that's the one thing I wish I could go back. I wish I would have recorded her heartbeat.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Either. And I just want to explain, like, you know, women in this situation preparing for a loss like this in labor, you know, there's steps that the hospital does to prepare.
Yeah.
And I still remember the red rose on the door.
Yeah.
And every time I think of red roses, I think of your door.
Yeah.
Just as a symbol of what was to come. And they also take the heart rate monitor on. So as a normal pregnancy, just like you said, that was the last time you heard it. And then they took it away.
Yeah.
You know, they want it to be as peaceful. And something else I just want to tell you, being there with you and Josh, as dark as that was, or as sad as this was that day was going to be, the kindness that you guys showed to everybody that walked into your room, you still smiled. You still said please and thank you. You guys were so loving and kind to everybody else too. And that is just, I think, an example of who you guys are and the love that you guys have. And that will always be with me, and always, I hope to just live my life as an example of you guys too.
Yeah.
You want to just keep going with that day?
Sure. So they induced me, as you know, it took a long time, and I usually have natural deliveries, and I did opt to, they suggested that I have an epidural to help with the pain because they knew it would be a drawn out delivery, labor. And so about 11 o'clock, I told Josh, and actually, so let me back up a minute and say, and I know this is not a religious podcast, but I have always, in my adult life, I had always been against organized religion, spiritual but not religious. And I will say that this experience has really drew Josh and I closer to God and back to what we were taught when we were younger. And so what happened was I was trying to rest, and Josh had music on, and he was actually reading the Bible. And I told him that the pain was just too much. And so he was about to get up to get the nurse, and she came in to check on me, and she turned me on my back because I was on my side, and said, let me check how far along you're dilated. She opened my legs, and Havana came right, slid right out. So my first question was, is she alive? And she looked at me and she said, I don't think so, sweetie. I think she has just passed away, but let me grab the doctor. So then a bunch of running happened. Josh went to get you guys. Lots of people came in the room, and it was confirmed that she had passed away.
Do you remember how quiet the room was? You were probably still in such a...
Yeah. The first couple of minutes after were definitely a blur. I don't really remember much of what happened. I just remember hoping that they would say that she was alive and breathing. But yeah, actually I do. I remember everyone kind of whispering, and then the doctor coming up to me and saying, I'm so sorry, she's passed away.
I remember walking in, I've been in deliveries before, and it was just so quiet, but I feel like that was the spiritual moments.
Yeah.
I felt like as soon as I walked in the room, I just felt, I I don't know, there's just something beyond us happening.
Yeah.
And it was, to be honest, I was terrified. When you asked me to be the photographer, I was so scared. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. But it was so peaceful, and it was so, she was just such a gift, you know, a gift for all of us. I think that brought our family together.
Yeah.
She was beautiful. She was so beautiful.
Yeah, she was.
And it wasn't scary. It was such a beautiful spiritual experience.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of you. I really am so proud of you to this day. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
For just how you've handled this whole situation and how you've allowed us to be a part of Havana's life too.
Yeah.
You know, you were welcoming. We all got to go in and see you. We all got to hold her. We all got to say goodbye, hello, and goodbye.
Yeah. I think one of the things that was the most special to me was the time that Josh and I had after everyone left, and it was just he and I. And he sang to Havana, and we opened her eyes, and we got to see that she had bright blue eyes. And so we were childhood sweethearts, and we always said that we would have a little girl with bright blue eyes, but that looked just like me, and she looked just like me except for the blue eyes. So I will always hold on to those moments, hearing Josh sing to her and just being able to hold her.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything, if you can just say anything to other moms and dads, we don't want to leave the dads out, who are going through this. You know, we all have our dark times, we all have these struggles. What is it that you want to share with other people to encourage people?
Oh, I'd like to say so much. The first thing I'd like to say is to moms that have that are in the exact same situation that I was in, where you received a diagnosis and it seems like it's the end, and you feel like you don't have the strength to move on. And to those moms, I want to say, you are strong enough. You can do this. And I promise you that if you continue on with that pregnancy, you will be able to hold your baby, and it's an experience like I can't imagine. Was it difficult? Yes, it was so difficult, but it was so beautiful. And I will never ever regret that decision. And I hope, because the doctors will tell you not to continue on with the pregnancy. I was told not to continue on. I just hope that you consider moving forward with your pregnancy, and you get to have that special moment with your baby. And then for the moms that have just had a stillborn, I've met lots of moms who had stillborns and they didn't expect them. You know, cord was wrapped around the neck, or the cord was knotted. And to you, all of you moms, I just want to say you are a warrior, and you are strong, and it's okay to grieve. We're taught that it's, you know, society thinks that we're weird because we're grieving this child or this baby that that we haven't met physically, but I'm sorry, society is wrong. That bond happens way before, and so it's okay to grieve, and I urge you to talk about it. Talking about your loss is so important, and remembering the beautiful moments that you were able to experience with your baby. And so yeah, that's to all the stillborn moms, and to the dads. It's okay to grieve. You don't have to be so strong that you can't allow yourself to grieve. It's okay to hurt, and it's okay to ask for help. And then just in general, my last thing is find, sorry, I'm trying to formulate the words. There will be extremely difficult moments and hard times going through this. This was not easy, and I still mourn the loss of my daughter. There were moments when I felt like I couldn't go on, even though I had 2 additional children. There were times when I felt literally like I could not breathe. And there were times where I thought, why me? Why was I chosen for this? But it's during those times that I remember that one day I will be reunited with her. And while the rest of us have to experience pain and ugliness in this world, there's so much hate in this world, she never had to experience that. She only experienced the warmth of my womb and my love. And when she opened her eyes, I believe strongly that she saw the face of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And those times when I could not go on, I prayed, and I had not prayed in 20 years. And I literally cried out, Lord, save me. And I 100% feel that Jesus carried me through. When I could not breathe, he helped me breathe. And when I could not walk, he helped me walk. And the other final thing is about family. Rely on your spouse, talk with each other, because you guys are going to grieve differently, and that's okay. Everyone grieves differently. And let your family love on you and help you. I mean, you guys were incredible checking in with me. You know, my mom would just take care of the kids. My sister, you lived far. My sister-in-law came, and rather than saying, what can I do? She said, this is what I'm going to do. And that's really what I needed, because I didn't know what I needed. And so just let people help you. Let people love on you. And you'll never get over the loss, but it will get easier.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Josh, my brother, for letting her do this interview. And until next week, until we unveil another mask. But thank you for being so brave and courageous. I think you're going to help a lot of people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.